Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome on into the Swear Word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and hey, this is a podcast for the chilihead community, by the chilihead community. Regardless of your spice tolerance, this is the place for you. Man, we have an amazing episode here tonight. We have two products on Hot or Not, so we'll have those ones rolling here soon, as well as we're going to be talking about myths, some truths, and some great pepper companions on this episode here tonight. So, episode starts now. Hey, welcome on in, Swear Nation. So glad to have everyone here, rocking and rolling. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, or Apple Podcast, thank you so much for being here and making this podcast what it is. Continue to share this out with other like-minded chili heads or those individuals that are just curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. So, up tonight, we have two sauces on deck for Hot or Not from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. So we'll be diving into those here shortly, as well as we're going to talk about some myths that are around, hot sauce, peppers, and then we're going to talk about the truth that it really kind of comes behind what these myths are kind of spun out of. And from there, we're going to touch on some pepper companions for those individuals that are growing, you're dealing with some pests, or maybe you're just trying to make sure your pepper plants stay as strong as possible. So definitely make sure you are ready to go for that. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to Hot or Not. Hey, welcome on into Hot or Not. Tonight we have two sauces on deck. Both of these are from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. We have Saucegauntlet. This is the brand new sauce from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. This is the tribute to the CEO himself, Mr. Saucegauntlet. If you did not know, that is that beautiful dog that is sitting there on the logo for Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. So we're going to be diving into that one, as well as we have carrot and sun-dried tomato that we'll be diving into as well. Both of these sauces look absolutely stunning, and loving the color on both of them. So we'll be jumping into that here shortly. But if this is your first time checking out Hot or Not, I do things a little bit different here. I don't do a 1 out of 10 scale. I do a 1 out of 5. That's really based off of 5 different categories. Those categories are heat, aroma, flavor, versatility, and burn. And yes, heat and burn are two separate things in my books. Heat is that first max 30 seconds. Burn is that post 30 seconds, where it sits, how it sits. Does it migrate? Does it amplify? Does it completely diminish away? All of that matters. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into, we're going to start out with Saucegauntlet actually. So this one here is, as I said, the newest sauce from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. Loving the overall wrap on this for the cellophane cap. This is a deep dark purple. It does have the pull tab here, so go ahead and open that, and we'll toss that off to the side. Get that off the cap, and we are good to go. So, beautiful, beautiful color to this sauce. It's actually got like a almost a brownish purple hue. I'm trying to see if maybe even if I hide the cellophane so that it's not like playing a trick on the mind, the sauce itself has that dark purplish brown color to it. So love the overall look to the sauce already right out the gate. As always, got my trusty tablespoon. And definitely not one to want to look at ingredients ahead of schedule. I like to let my taste buds really find what they're picking up. So we're going to be diving into that right off the bat. Such a beautiful note on the nose. A little bit smoky, a little bit of a sweet note. We're definitely picking up some savory, zesty bite to the overall aroma towards the finish. What's interesting is the pepper note, from an aroma standpoint, seems to be very nice and faint. It's very well hidden in the back. Absolutely loving it. It almost has a resemblance to, say, like a barbecue type of aroma going on here. So let's go ahead and give this one a good pour. Nice flow, good consistency on this sauce. Oh yeah, much more bright once it's on the spoon, but cheers. Mmm. Wow. Holy cow. That is one. Wow. My taste buds are just exploding right now. I want to turn this bottle up and drink it. That is so amazing. Saucegauntlet is hands down absolutely a flavor bomb to the max, and the beautiful cascading effect of these flavor notes dancing on there, giving that nice little flavor profile going on. You're definitely picking up the notes of the nice cinnamon, the ginger. You're gaining some kind of a fruity, sweet note, but it's not super overpoweringly sweet. It has a nice consistency to this. I'm just trying to completely put all this together. There's a different note there that I can't quite pick up, but definitely loving it. It reminds me, it's very crisp, it's very fresh, it's absolutely enticing. It makes you want to come back for more. And the amount of smoke that is in this sauce is absolutely very well executed. Just bold flavor that is carried through, the zesty spice that's carrying forward. It's like the best way possible. It matches with the aroma. It is like an Asian style barbecue sauce. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this sauce right here, if you're just starting out, you're going to be able to pick this up. You're going to want to pick this up, and you're going to want to enjoy this. Purple Tongue hot sauce. Michael, you have absolutely done it with this one. Saucegauntlet is a phenomenal sauce. Absolutely loving the overall just journey that it takes you on. This flavor profile as it's rolling out is so magical. It is absolutely crisp. You're picking up some of the onion, the savory notes. You're also picking up a little bit of that smoky nature, that savory depth. The way that the peppers come on this, it's much more of a back half burn, if you will, than right out the gate. You're really graced with the flavor, the overall pop, the just joy that it brings and lights up, as to where then as that burn really starts to kick in, that's whenever the pepper starts to come forward. You're really able to have that pepper flavor and heat really build and accentuate towards that back half and really feel it. It is mostly consolidated towards the back of the mouth and the about midway of the throat. That's where you're really feeling the overall burn and where it's sitting. Nothing in the chest, nothing in the stomach, just a very small amount in the mouth, but mostly consolidated on that throat area. All right, let's read off some ingredients here, actually, before I get too carried away. So Saucegauntlet from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. We have ingredients of dark sweet cherries, apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, oranges, honey, maple syrup, red onion, lime, smoked whiskey, distilled, and then we have garlic, liquid smoke concentrate, brown sugar, smoked paprika, olive oil, allspice, cherry, ginger, cherry blossom powder, cinnamon, smoked boot jolokia peppers, yuzu extract, Himalayan pink salt, and black pepper. Absolutely magical and dancing on the taste buds the whole way through. What is interesting is utilizing that liquid smoke in here. It is done in such a masterful way that normally whenever you have someone kind of trying to work a liquid smoke in there, it is not executed perfectly. It's very noticeable. It's a very synthetic taste. It's not the greatest. Michael has been able to nail this down and have it to where that liquid smoke is executed perfectly, bringing just enough smoke flavor forward without it disrupting anything else going on in this sauce. So kudos there. Knock this one out of the park. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and read off some scores. All right, here we go. Heat coming in at a 3, aroma of 4.3, flavor of a 4.45, versatility of a 4, burn of a 3.45 for a total swear word rating of 3.84. There we go. Saucegauntlet from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. Absolutely amazing. Definitely one you should pick up. So head on over there. This is going to be safe for all those that are either just starting out, working on your own personal best. You're really going to be able to love and enjoy this sauce and be able to have great times with this one. From a versatility standpoint, you could use this on just about anything. The only thing I'm not too certain on how it would pair out well would be really around desserts. Maybe I could see this going good with a ice cream, like a vanilla ice cream, or drizzled on top of a nice fudgy brownie. That still might play out pretty well there. From a overall enjoyment aspect, this is going to be great with any kind of Asian inspired foods. It's going to go great with some Asian style tacos as well. I'm going to be dabbling a little bit of this on some pizza and seeing how this plays with, say, a nice ground beef hamburger pizza, and put this on there. It's going to be absolutely a phenomenal. I can already imagine how well that's going to play together. So that is Saucegauntlet. Now let's dive on into the carrot and sun-dried tomato. All right, give this one a good shake. Once again, nice overall cellophane with the pull tab on the side. So go ahead and get my hand under there, give it a good pull, and get that seal off to the side. Pull the cap off, and here we go. Let me give it one more good shake. All right. Oh, wow. You're definitely picking up much more of a savory depth to this one. You're also smelling what smells like a little bit of cumin, a little bit of turmeric. There's a bright, zesty note on the aroma. Can't quite pick that one up, but here we go. So overall color on this sauce is quite a bold orangish yellow, and it is absolutely looking phenomenal. With a name like carrot and sun-dried tomato, this hue is perfectly married to what you would expect those to look like when blended. So expectations met there. Let's go ahead and give this one a good on pour. Definitely thicker than Saucegauntlet, but nice flow once it gets going. Whoa, as you see there. Definitely picking up some herbs. You can see them there. Also grabbing from the aroma. So cheers. Wow. Wow. Man, that is good. Carrot, sun-dried tomato. Don't let the name fool you. That sauce definitely packs some heat. Such a great flavor, though. Right off the bat, I'm salivating like crazy from both these sauces. But salivating is a good thing because this is just absolutely letting that whole flavor just roll continuously around the mouth, and absolutely enjoying this one here. So right off the bat, nice earthy, nice savory depth to this overall sauce. You're getting a little bit of an herby note, some citrus coming in on the back end, and really just a bright, bold pepper note towards the front. Man, oh man, is this good. The way that it's hitting, it is a full-on mouth burn, really back of the throat, nice and good, but fully encompassing of this overall burn and experience. Definitely hotter than, if not hotter. Yeah, definitely hotter right out the gate than Saucegauntlet was. But definitely one that I could see myself using this on sandwiches, burgers, salads, pizzas, you name it. It's going to go great on it as well. This is not one that I would utilize towards dessert, but so maybe some slight limitation there. I could see this going pretty good in a Bloody Mary, though, if you were to do that. because it gives it that nice savory, that overall zesty pop that you would want with that nice heat. So definitely bring in some nice body to that sauce, or to that drink through that sauce. So absolutely phenomenal stuff there. If you are working on your own personal best, this is going to be a nice medium sauce for you. Both of these, I would say, are going to be a nice medium heat sauce, if you're working on your own personal best. Now, if you're just starting out, moderation is key. Being able to make sure that you're utilizing the sauce appropriately, adding little by little until you find where you're comfortable, is going to be absolutely important as you're getting going. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these ingredients here. So, ingredients are carrots, Carolina Reaper, and boot jolokia peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, red bell peppers, apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, non-GMO avocado oil, garlic, olive oil, lime and lemon, and then we have cumin, turmeric, basil, dill, onion, pink Himalayan salt, and black pepper. Absolutely phenomenal. The noticeable nature of the aroma and flavor from that cumin and turmeric, absolutely spot on. Was able to pick that one up pretty quick. The thing that was interesting is that herby nature that I was getting, while the basil makes sense for what I was tasting, the dill is not quite as pronounced as I was, thinking as reading it through the ingredients list. So very well done, nicely balanced. That dill is, going to be absolutely crucial. Without that dill in there, this sauce would not taste the same. But definitely interesting as the overall nature to this. Having the avocado oil and olive oil really must help smooth out the delivery of these different ingredients for the sauce, because the Carolina Reaper and the boot jolokia coming in here, it does such a nice balance to that sun-dried tomato and that carrot. It almost allows it to get slightly more balanced in overall heat. It's not this quick spike that just completely just rips you a new one. It's able to transition not only the pepper's flavor into those ingredients, but also allow those ingredients to help carry over some of that great flavor. So kudos there. All right, heat coming in at 3.34, aroma of 3.8, flavor of 4.1, versatility of a 4, burn of a 3.75 for a total swear word rating of 3.8. There we go. Absolutely amazing. That is carrot and sun-dried tomato from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. Once again, two phenomenal sauces. Both of these, Michael, you have done an absolute masterpiece on both of them. But Saucegauntlet, I am so honored to be able to have reviewed here. If you have not tried out Saucegauntlet, as this is the newest sauce from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce, I highly recommend you checking that one out, as well as carrot and sun-dried tomato. Both of these are phenomenal. I'll have the direct links down below so you can pick up both of them, as well as check out the full lineup of amazing hot sauces and products from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump on over to our discussion. All right, Swear Nation, welcome on back in for another fiery conversation. So on today's podcast, what we're going to do is we're going to dive deep into the spicy realm of myths, legends, and surprising allies in the pepper world, where we're going to be busting out 10 hot sauce myths, 10 pepper myths, and we're going to be giving you 10 total amazing companion plants to help with, both flowering and being able to really grow next to these plants that will be able to boost their health, help, fight pests, and just plain look good in the garden, right? That's going to be the main focal point tonight. Up first, let's go ahead and talk about some, hot sauce myths. Let's go ahead and settle some of these and get on into that. Some of these you might have heard of multiple times. Some of them, they're just simply preference, but oftentimes stated as fact online. So to kind of break up some of those, we're going to be diving into those that are, we're going to be separating the fact from the fiction. All right. So here we go. All hot sauce is super spicy. Well, no, that's not the case. There are many, many hot sauces out there that are mild, all about the flavor, super flavor packed and forward, and they bring a nice level of either tanginess, sweetness, and umami, and then that heat really comes in. These are just a few areas that they can bring in. There's many other notes that can come forward, but not every bottle has to light your face on fire. This is the beauty of being able to understand how the person crafting this hot sauce intends it, and the overall personality, their fingerprint, their love, their passion is poured out into that sauce. This is where you, as the consumer, get to really experience and love and find out that joy that they are wanting to share with you. So that is myth number one, because oftentimes people get bogged down with, all hot sauce is just there to burn you down. Not the case. Not the case at all. So myth number two, this one flies around far more than it needs to and is absolutely needing to be squashed, which is hot sauce causes ulcers. Well, actually, that's not the case. Capsaicin is maybe helping pinpoint the fact that you have ulcers going on, but it is not the thing creating ulcers or causing them in your stomach. Capsaicin may actually help prevent ulcers by promoting healthy digestion. This has been cited by Mayo Clinic and even noted in some of the most recent findings from them, as well as many other places. But try to give you some better understanding, because I know this is such a heavily debated topic here, that hot sauce or spicy things in general can cause ulcers. Not the case. Absolutely false, but can help you diagnose really quick if you do have them. Next up, this is one that's also very argued and debated. It depends on if you are pro-fermentation, if you're pro-cooked sauce, how you like your hot sauce. This really depends on a somewhat of a personal preference, but some view it as a definitive. So we're about to break this one down. Vinegar ruins the flavor. Well, that is completely false. Go out on a limb here and start this conversation with, vinegar acts like the backbone. All it's there is really to help balance flavors and extend the overall shelf life. It's not just about that tang, that twang, that tang. It's all the chemistry that's needed to help it stay shelf stable. Now, if you do have a fermented sauce and it's fermented, right, you can get away with less vinegar in there. Nothing wrong with that. I do believe that, the sauces that it's like 80, 90% vinegar in there and just a small amount of other ingredients, that it's borderline where you start to question the overall level of which it is a hot sauce. So I do think that too much vinegar can be problematic, but I would never say that vinegar ruins the flavor of hot sauce. Some people may not like vinegar. Some people may not be able to have vinegar. That is a totally separate thing, and that pertains to a smaller group than, say, throwing a blanket statement out there, such as vinegar ruins flavor. That is just, absolutely wild to toss out there. But on to the next one. So you can't use fruit in hot sauce. Well, some people want to live and die by this one. And as we had seen here tonight, fruit in hot sauce, when done right, is absolutely amazing. It's done in such a way that you're really able to enjoy what is going on. It brings a nice accenting note. And if done properly, you can pull out some of that sweet notes to help kind of curb some of the heat or to accentuate other ingredients that are in there and really let that flavor complexity build. And that is just absolutely unbeatable when it is done right. So, some of these ingredients like mangoes and pineapples and even blueberries or apples really kind of play a beautiful note and beautiful marriage into these different sauces, as seen with Saucegauntlet here tonight using that dark cherry. So absolutely beautiful. And never say you can't use fruit in your hot sauce, because you definitely should and you definitely can. And you should be able to find a way to bring it forward. If you don't like fruit in your hot sauce, once again, it's more of a personal preference than stating a quote unquote fact. So that is just one part. All right. So this one here, a lot of us have, a love-hate relationship, but to completely skip over this and to dismiss it in this manner isn't quite the best way to go about it. But the next one is store-bought sauces aren't real. So ultimately, deeming from what I was gathering online, there's quite the stigma around those common everyday finds at the grocery store, just kind of discounting, if you will, those sauces as a whole. Many commercial sauces came from a family recipe or a home kitchen. And they also not only is there that avenue and way to look at it, but at the same time, you have a lot of these sauces that people loved, either still do, or they loved at one point to help them along in their journey to where they've now found other sauces that mean more and speak to them more and excite them more. So to just blanket statement say those sauces don't matter, they're absolute trash, is completely off track for what's going on. Don't just hate on that sauce just because it's on the store shelf. Know and appreciate and love the fact that that sauce might be the reason why someone else comes into the scene and finds their love and their passion. So, hot sauce doesn't expire. While it may not spoil easily, it does have a flavor and consistency that will degrade over time. So making sure that you're checking your bottles, especially the ones if it's a homemade bottle that either you have made or a friend made for you, making sure that everything looks, smells right before you really dive into it. You can still get very sick. Definitely with some homemade sauces that aren't done right, or whoever's preparing it doesn't fully understand what they're doing. Be cautious with that, because you don't want to end up sick. With hot sauce itself, I've had bottles that have been on the shelf for quite a few years, cracked them open, absolutely phenomenal, absolutely amazing, and still great flavor, great consistency. The idea here is making sure you're paying attention to how the sauce looks now versus how the sauce looked when you got it. And kind of playing into that fact. If it smells funny, probably shouldn't touch it. If it looks completely different, probably wouldn't mess with it. That's just to err on the safe side. Now, can you? Yeah, sure. It's your choice. It's your call. Do as you please. But to say that it does not expire or does not spoil easy, it can happen. Once again, definitely if you're making homemade hot sauce and you don't know what you're doing, or you have limited information on how you're doing it. So next up, only peppers bring the heat. So, while that isn't completely true, pepper-derived things also add. So I guess here's where you can kind of get a little bit of a nuance between the two. Some sauces use things like extracts or, different pepper oils, tinctures, etc. This is going to be, pepper derived or, synthesized in a lab in a sense like that. You can really consolidate and bring in the overall heat and never put a single actual bit of pepper flesh in your hot sauce by using some of these other products. So to say, hey, this sauce has no peppers listed here on the ingredients list, well, make sure you're not seeing something like an extract or, any of these pepper oils or capsaicin crystals in there, because all of those, while you may not be able to pick them up as identifiable, such as like jalapeno, serrano, habanero, ghost, etc. If you're not able to identify it in that way, doesn't mean that you're completely going to be missing out on some heat. So being cautious of that is going to be important. Next up, this one, I almost didn't want to add this to the list, but because it had such a traction on Reddit, I wanted to go ahead and bring it up. That is, hot sauce is only for Mexican or Southern food. Absolutely false. You can use hot sauce in many different areas and many different avenues. And if you've watched the podcast or if you caught some hot or nots before, I talked to many different areas of versatility and how you can use these hot sauces. Hot sauces are also used worldwide. I mean, they use them in North Africa. They use them in Southeast Asia, Korea, China. I mean, you name it, South America, all these different places still utilize hot sauce. And it's not just exclusive to, say, one part of the world. So don't get caught up or bogged down with, hey, I'm only limited to use my sauces in these avenues. Not the case. So, you can't make it at home. This is something that I've seen online where people just get wrapped in their head. We've even had a few guests that said, initially they thought, hot sauce is this elusive thing that no one can really do, and that it's left to these companies to figure out. Well, not the case. You can always get creative. Definitely if you're gardening, you're already growing your own peppers, you're already doing your thing outside. Why not enjoy some of the fun and play with your creativity, your creative side, really get those juices flowing and find a sauce that sings and, ends up calling to you in what you're looking for. You never know where that could take you, but at the least, you're going to have fun doing it. So main thing here is just make sure that you're being safe, watch your pH guidelines, have a clean prep environment, a clean bottling environment. This is also, in my opinion, one of the most rewarding DIY projects that you can do, definitely if you're already growing. So don't let that slip through your hands, and don't let the idea that you can't do something, get in the way of you being able to enjoy some of the fruits of your labor, pun intended. So next up, this one happens to kind of be similar with the ulcer one. Saw this one coming up quite a bit, which is there's no health benefits to capsaicin. That's absolutely false. Capsaicin has anti-inflammatory properties. It boosts metabolism, even supports a healthy heart, and really kind of, many other areas. There's been studies that show that it helps fight against cancer. It helps fight in different areas and be able to have a better overall healthy gut and digestive system through this, really being able to monitor, boost in your metabolism and have that anti-inflammatory problems. All of these things have been documented numerous times. One quick site study that I was looking at was also from the Cleveland Clinic, talking about all of those health properties and benefits. There's plenty more that we can dive into, but high level, this is just to completely debunk the idea that there's no health benefits from it. So now, as we have talked about this and we have discussed the different ways of, myths having to do around hot sauce, let's go ahead and to be able to tackle some of these next ones here. These are 10 of the most common myths about the peppers themselves. Okay. So we're just going to leave this ultimately not just exclusively to hot peppers themselves, but peppers in general, right? So, number 1, all peppers are spicy. Well, if you've been around vegetables and eating spicy peppers or eating peppers as a whole, you're going to know this is not true. Bell peppers actually contain 0 capsaicin. The heat levels do vary massively amongst different types of peppers, and they all heat the different ways that they heat and the burn and the ways that they burn you and the ways that they linger around are all very different. And this is because of the different capsaicinoids within the pepper itself. So, no, all peppers are not spicy. There are plenty of peppers out there that have zero heat or next to zero heat, and they also have a beautiful, sweet, crisp, refreshing note. So, if you're wanting to start your way up, you can find some of these peppers and slowly, incrementally work on your heat tolerance. So, next up, we have the seeds are the hottest part. This is commonly mentioned across the board, and ultimately, it is one of the most incorrect statements ever. There's actually no heat themselves in the seeds. The heat may have been some of the oils on the outside of the seed, but there is no heat actually from the seeds themselves. The heat is really coming from some of y'all might see the pepper and you have no idea what this is. So I'm going to try to break this down a little bit more. But from that white membrane, that's called the placenta, that ultimately packs the most punch. You will have peppers that express the oils and they have the oil buildup inside there, and you'll see some of that. That will often be a yellowish, orangish hue, depending on how much is present. You'll also see sometimes people will say, oh, this has a lot of capsaicin oil in there. But then whenever you're, showing it, it's very clear, it's very translucent. That's not the same. That's oftentimes excess water built up inside the pepper. That's completely different than the oils. But to not get too far off track, the seeds are only hot because they have touched the membrane or they have got the oils from the pepper itself on the outside. The seeds are not the spicy part. So next time you're eating a jalapeno and you're at a restaurant and you see the seeds, don't freak out because of the seeds. You know now that the heat is trapped in that white membrane. So if you're trying to reduce the amount of heat you have, go ahead and gut that out and you'll be fine. Next up, myths about peppers. That you can't grow peppers indoors. There's actually some folks that truly believe this. You can grow peppers indoors, inside themselves. You just still need the right grow lights. You need some warmth. And, most chili heads, I do this as well, do this year around. This is absolutely a great option for those individuals that live in a predominantly cold climate, and you are wanting to be able to maximize the amount of peppers and the amount of heat that you're able to grow for that year. Growing indoors is a phenomenal option for you there, and you're able to play with the different variables a lot more. So like toning up the lighting or toning it down, being able to regulate how much you're watering or how little you're watering. All these things kind of come into play. But you are solely in the driver's seat for maintaining and making sure that those plants survive and thrive. But here we go. The next one is more water equals more fruit. Absolutely false. Overwatering causes stress to the plants. It weakens the plants. It does not help the pepper plants at all. It actually stunts them. Is similar to if you don't water and you just go like absolutely too far. A little bit of a drought is good and able to, self-regulate the differences of when the pepper plant needs it. You're able to really watch the overall leaves and how they're handling the overall environment and the situation that you have them in. Definitely if they're indoors, as per that last one we just talked about, you're able to really fine tune how often and how much you're watering to what the plant is needing. Less is more with pepper plants. Being able to respond when the time is right will keep the plants looking great. Overwatering will just cause stress, disease, and more problems. So there we go. Next up, there's a lot of people that believe that you just can't crossbreed peppers. You you definitely can. Hobbyists can do this all the way to, you know, those that have been doing this on a professional scale are able to really crossbreed peppers as a whole. We'll just leave it there without diving into the different species and which ones can be bred with what and all the things, because it that's a little bit more of a deeper conversation. But you can create also wild hybrids all the time. It's just really about proximity, pollinators that are around. Nature can do its thing, and to think that you as man are the only reason as to why something could cross is absolutely ignorant to the overall picture that is life. So if you're wanting to make sure your plants do not cross pollinate and you're creating some kind of a new cross, you're going to want to isolate, whether that be with netting, whether that be with distance from one crop to the next. All of these things kind of take effect whenever you're looking at that, making sure that your plants are labeled correctly, and all of that is going to be crucial. And just remember, if you're not confident in what it is, just don't hold on to the seed stock and grow it again next season. So, next up, we have that peppers repel all pests. No. Unfortunately, they still attract aphids, mites, leafhoppers, deer. I've even have some rabbits that will come eat my pepper plants. You've got to protect them. Pepper plants are not, immune to pests or repelling of pests in any different variety, whether that be aphids, mites, leaf hoppers, hornworm, anything of that nature. You are going to be having to battle pests if your environment is not healthy enough and have enough good beneficial bugs in the area. So making sure that you take the proper steps will ensure that your plants are doing good. All right, next up, this one's often mentioned. So many people are brand new to the scene, and their first thought is, "Oh, I'm too late. I can't start peppers. I can't start from seed. Sorry, I can't do this. It's too late in the season for me. I'll have to chalk it up for next year." Well, that's completely false. You can still be able to start, whether that be from a young plant to just completely starting fresh from seeds. You're still able to get a nice solid harvest depending on where you're at. Most regions, you're still able to start mid-spring and see a nice crop from it. If you're in one of those areas, as I mentioned before, that are known for being a bit more cold and a shorter growth season, this is where it would be crucial to really make sure that you're either utilizing containers. That way, whenever it does start to drop in temperature, you can bring them either into an inside grow area, a garage, wherever you might have them, or just flat out start them inside and never move them outside and grow only indoors. So, indoors you're able to grow year round as long as the rest of the conditions and environment is correct. So, putting a end to that one there. And then up next we have black or purple peppers are fake. Nope, they're absolutely real. You'll see some pretty wild color transitions and crazy fun color pop to some peppers these days. Very often they either come out one of two ways. They're either very tasty or they're decorative in that sense. The vibrant wild colors are often a lot more they can be often more decorative, and those decorative ones become much more floral, much more harsh on the taste, not quite so sweet, not quite so great as far as the overall enjoyability to it. But that doesn't mean that these wild, crazy colors to the peppers mean that they're fake. Now, if someone's going out there and changing the overall color to, say, an image, and it's a whole different thing. And you're not going to find a highlighter blue pepper, at least none that I know of that are out there. And there's just going to be, some limitations to that. So use your own judgment and understand that, yes, while there are some pretty cool variegations, color transitions, and different varieties, similar to like the Black Pearl or the Purple Beauty, you're going to have some of those great looking peppers really carry forward and have a nice transition. Oftentimes, some of these that have some pretty wild colors or color transitions may only have that color transition during the ripening phase or as they're unripe. And then whenever they do fully ripen, they're typically a solid one uniform color, right? So that's some ways to understand different colors on peppers does not always mean that they're fake. Using your best judgment and seeing more than just a photo is going to be ideal in making sure that what you're getting is what you're actually getting. So next up, bigger peppers equal more heat. No, not always the case. Bigger peppers equaling more heat per volume is maybe a case, like you're eating more of a pepper that is, of a certain SHU, but that doesn't mean that a smaller pepper can't be hotter than that bigger pepper. Perfect example here. We all know bell peppers can get very large. As we talked about earlier, bell peppers have zero heat. It doesn't mean that massive pepper is going to be hotter than, say, a Pekin or a Thai bird's eye. You're going to be able to find that the size of the pepper is not always indicative of how much SHUs is actually coursing through that pepper, if you will. You can have a big pepper and it still be extremely hot. And whenever you have those, man, that is an absolute masterpiece. And those are the ones that are the most fun because you're not only filling yourself with volume, you're filling yourself with absolute fire. And those are a lot of fun to play with. So just know bigger pepper does not always equal more heat. So next and final one for the night as far as the myths go. One season only for plants. Absolutely not. If you're in a warmer climate or you're able to deal with, overwintering, you can produce off of that one plant for years. As long as you're treating them right, they will continue to reward you. Making sure that, you're getting nice production year over year. There's been plenty of times where people have noticed that their plant is 5-6 years in, and all of a sudden it's not quite producing at the same level and volume that it was in its earlier years. Some people will either try to nurture it back to producing more, or they'll just go ahead and start anew. But definitely know that your pepper plants can survive more than one season as long as you're either in a warm climate or you're overwintering properly. And this is a great way to get ahead and make sure that you're getting peppers earlier on in the season if you're doing this properly. So now, as those myth-busting conversations have been complete, now let's go ahead and look at how to support your pepper plants in the garden. Here's where we're going to be talking about the overall companion planting, the natural allies that keep your peppers thriving. This is going to be absolutely crucial and a fun way to bring not only some color, some great aroma, and some beneficial insects to your overall garden. All right, so here we go. We have up first basil. Basil helps deter aphids, mites, and also some people like to think that it helps improve the flavor of your overall peppers. Personally, what you're going to notice is you're going to notice a great smell, a great aroma emitting itself from your garden. This is a great one to have out there to help, with a variety of insects. You can see as well here, just quickly on Google, it also mentions how it can help with mosquitoes and houseflies. So that's very interesting. You'll also notice that a lot of these suggestions for companion plants, while they can be used themselves and beneficial in that area, these also can provide a great second use case, as well as a bait plant per se, to keep the pests away from your pepper plants. So that is a great option there. Another great companion plant to have is going to be marigolds. These guys are, pest fighting champions, if you will. They help drive away the nematodes and bring in those good insects, those great pollinators who really like to thrive and come towards these marigolds. They're very easy to grow, hard to kill, nice hardy plants, and absolutely just, cast out quite a few seeds in your overall grow garden and let them do their thing. Leave them alone and watch the beneficial insects flood on in. Up next, this one is going to be a crop that we're going to be talking about. Now, this one is going to be actually onions. So onions help keep away aphids and beetles, and they help as well as the overall growing space between pepper plants. So like this is a great one to plant in between the 2 foot. Oftentimes you'll give them 2 feet of space. But what you can do with these is drop onions in that row between the pepper plants and let them provide that refuge to get either attacked or to deter these bugs from your overall pepper plants. This is also a great way to maximize what you can do in your garden and what you can get out of it. Onions also pair well if you're going to be, dabbling and trying to make your own hot sauces, or, if you wanted to make your own fresh onion, dried onion spice for your kitchen, you can utilize this. Many different avenues. Onions, great way to grow and help deter pests. A great companion plant there. Another one, similar vein, can be executed in the similar way. This one's going to be garlic. Garlic is a natural pest deterrent as well, and it also yields some antifungal properties. Garlic is a beautiful one to be able to grow, layer it in there between some pepper plants, and allow it to do its thing, reap the benefits of having garlic, and then you can have fresh garlic all year round if done properly. Up next, we have nostrums. So nostrums are a fantastic trap crop. Pests typically go after them and they'll just leave your pepper plants alone. As you can see here on the screen, here's some images of what they look like. Nice, beautiful flowers. They will also help kind of branch out and take over and kind of fill in that space between your overall plants. Now, this is a great look here, as you can see, of what you can expect. They will, emit these beautiful colored flowers. They will help attract the good pollinators as well as deter the bad ones. So, a great addition to the overall garden, one that you're going to be able to see the overall benefit and, just appreciate the look of them in your garden. Next up, we have spinach. This one is very low growing. It's great for soil shade. You can help kind of utilize this by starting your spinach ahead of your pepper plants. That way it starts to provide a nice shaded barrier to help those pepper plants start hardening off. So a great way to layer them in without having to do the, back and forth of like bringing them out for a little bit, letting them get used to the sun, putting them back into the shade with your pepper plants as you go. If you have spinach started, you have it going, they are great for the soil shade, as well as being able to help keep the moisture down into the soil while you ultimately deal with the growing conditions. These also are, make a great bonus as you can harvest them and eat them and enjoy the spinach. So that's another great companion plant there. Here's another one here that is a great one to layer in between and really help the overall aeration and breakdown of the soil. These take a bit longer to grow, but definitely great for compacted soil. That's carrots. These roots help break up that compacted soil. It helps aerate the overall grow area around you and around those pepper plants to really help the water come in and really help get deep down into that soil. So aerating that will be absolutely beneficial for the nearby pepper plants, but know that you can start these carrots earlier than you would say put out your overall pepper plants in the ground. This is a great way to know exactly where you should put your pepper plants if you're starting to stagger them by rows and really define which grids and how far and where you should be planting each and every pepper plant. So next one here, oregano. Oregano helps with keeping weeds down. Like weed suppression, oregano is phenomenal with this. It also adds some pest control, and it's just overall a great herb to, use and keep around, dry this out, use this as you're cooking. It's just a great one to have in there. Oregano will help span out and really take over some of that space on the soil that would otherwise be barren if you're not using anything to kind of top dress, if you will. Another one very similar to what has already been mentioned, which is chives. Chives are very easy to grow, and they help repel aphids. So as you're thinking of staggering these chives, you can do in between rows. You can do this in patches, in corners of your grow bed, however you want to do this. But these will also look great when they're planted around your pepper plants. It kind of gives it that, that pop that you would want, that bright green look to it, and really be able to enjoy what is going on. Now, you don't want them too close because you're going to still need to be able to move in to be able to pick your pepper plants as they start to fruit. So being cautious of not stepping on the chives, or either that or harvesting the chives before the peppers really start going. But that is number 9. And finally, let's take a look at this one here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this image up as well for everyone. Borage. I might be saying that incorrectly, but as you can see here, bright, almost like a purplish blue color to the overall flower, a little bit of a fuzzy leaf on the outside. This one is absolutely amazing as it will attract pollinators like crazy, and it does great near tomatoes and pepper plants. It really helps deter hornworms. If you are plagued with hornworms and you can get your hands on some borage, you're gonna love to put this out there, help keep those hornworms away, and it will help boost your tomatoes, your pepper plants. A lot of those nightshades really like this borage. So definitely one to keep in the mix as you are going. So, well, there you have it, Swear Nation. 30 spicy nuggets of knowledge to take back your garden, your kitchen, and your hot sauce lab. Myths have been busted, truths have been revealed, and your peppers now have a full squad of allies to count on and for you to incorporate and layer into your overall garden. If you found tonight's episode helpful, go ahead, and if you're on one of the platforms for the podcast that allows for ratings, go ahead and leave me a rating, leave me a comment, share this out with other fellow chili heads or individuals that are curious about the world of hot. And don't forget that new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Central on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Rumble. Always check all the socials as new content continues to roll out. I have great things coming for the website. I've decided I have so many things that I want to pack in there that'll be beneficial for all of Swear Nation as well as, conversations like this to be able to have cataloged and have a point of reference so that you can quickly go back to and draw on what we discussed, as well as highlighting people that have been guests and which episodes they've been on, and being able to quickly identify how you can watch that episode. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Hey, if you enjoyed the products here on Hot or Not from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce, I will have the direct links for those down below, as well as a link to the full website so you can check out the full lineup of amazing products from Purple Tongue Hot Sauce. Highly recommend you go head on over there and pick up a bottle of Saucegauntlet and thank me later, as he now ramps up his second batch of it. And man, it's a great sauce. Absolutely amazing. Going to go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors, podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, you hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io for all your needs, as well as our other channel sponsor, webdx.one. If you have an online site, maybe it's not a great representation of you and your business, maybe you had somebody, you've lost contact with them, highly recommend checking out webdx.one for all of those needs. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.